Good morning, my dear friends. And live from Vienna, Austria, we're really live today. It's Saturday morning. So, welcome one and all. I'm looking at your wonderful comments. Good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to talk about today, my friends, on this wonderful award-winning show. You haven't won any awards lately, have you, on this show? I think that it's time for somebody to be winning awards, so by the end, we will get to our exciting new prize. Just a second, I am trying to change what I see here because I can't see my own charming face. Just a second. Oh, there we are. Okay, my friends. So, we have a lot of exciting things to talk about. First of all, it is older calendar Theophany Eve, or Chrześcijański Soczelnik, today, so we have to talk a bit for the sake of us older calendar people about that great feast of the baptism of the Lord. Secondly, I would like to talk, because it's a divisive election year in the US of A, I would like briefly to reflect a little bit so that we're sort of armed and can take pause about the very divisiveness of our political culture today. And, I find it useful for myself to try and take pause and think about it a little bit in peace before I dive into someone else's battles, you know what I'm saying, and get divided with my loved ones and friends, right? So anyway, we're going to talk about that. The other thing we need to talk about, of course, a little bit. This is why I have my Harry and Meghan cup here, kindly sent to me by Cynthia, one of the zillions. We have to talk a little bit about Megxit. Have you heard about Megxit? If you don't care about it, then don't worry about it. But I put flowers in this cute little teacup, I suppose it is, to show that I'm hopeful, even though I don't like it one bit. I'll tell you that right away, okay? I don't like what these crazy kids are doing. Nobody's really asking me, but I'm going to share why I don't like it one bit, okay? All right, so wait for that. And then finally, I think the most divisive topic today will be something indeed very disturbing in our world. 1 second. I have a picture of it. It is a pressing fashion issue, namely wearing sneakers or trainers, as I think the Brits call them, with dresses and skirts. We need to do something about this, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to that. Look, I have to talk about it. You're thinking, sister, why are you spending time talking about this? Number one, because I know that you want me, you look to me to guide you in the important fashion issues for obvious reasons, me being a fashion icon and all. And besides, if I didn't talk about this menace to not only to our streets, seeing this ugliness, the so-called ugly chic, you know that ugliness is in fashion, but one is noticing this in our churches, this ugliness, and we need to put a stop to this. A lot of you will disagree with me, but I feel if I don't talk about it, stones will cry out. What will they cry out? I think the stones would cry out something like, you make a grown man cry, something like that. That's what the stones would say to this. Anyway, we'll get to that. So, let's begin, my friends, and look at this invigorating feast. Today, already, the waters were sanctified or blessed in older calendar churches. You know that I actually do this in Vienna in between the liturgical times. It's 3:30 for me, even though we all pretend that it's morning. Why? Most of our zillions are in the US of A, or indeed Canada. Anyway, in the morning, we already had the first of the very solemn and joy-filled celebration of blessing the waters. And tomorrow there will be another blessing of the waters after the Divine Liturgy. So let's just look briefly, everybody briefly, at the Kontakion of the feast. The Kontakion hymn of theophany, reflecting just a bit, my friends. Hang in there. Can you hear me, by the way? Oh, I see. The ladies are already arguing this out. I know. You're going to say it's comfortable and we're not. Look, I'm going to get to that. Just hold your horses. All right, so the Kontakion hymn of theophany. Today you have shown forth to the world. So the Kontakion hymn is, of course, playing constantly with the word, the feast being called theophany or epiphany. The word, is being used right away in the Kontakion hymn, Epiphanis Simiron, Явился еси днесь вселенной. A big deal is made of the fact that the Lord shows up, okay? He was living a private life, one can say, and at age 30, he appears on the scene, and John the Baptist recognizes who the Lord is. Other people don't know exactly who can this be, right? And John says, this is the Lamb. Behold the Lamb of God, right? Anyway, so showing up for our sake and exposing himself to all the consequences of our sin, that is already symbolized in his baptism in the Jordan, okay? He subjects himself, and he's naked, by the way, just like he is on his cross, the vulnerability of the Lord by showing up. Some people would rather not show up and leave when they're called to do something for the sake of others and serve. Am I talking about Megxit? Maybe. Anyway, our Lord does show up, and he doesn't run away. Today you have shown forth to the world. Now, to the whole wide universe, everybody, ti ikumeni. Вселение явился еси днесь вселенной. Isn't that great? He's not only appearing to a select few, he's appearing to everyone who cares to take note. Okay? He's for everyone. This is an ecumenist text. It says that he appears ti ikumeni, to the ikumena, to the whole wide world, everybody. Anyway, and your light has been signed, esimiothi, on us. Your light has been signed on us. What is the light of Christ that we sign on ourselves? What's the sign? The simion par excellence. It's the cross. The light and lightness of the cross is what we're called to walk, right? That's the walk that we walk, not being discouraged. When people criticize us, when the tabloids are criticizing us, do we have to run away? Harry and Meghan, you HRHs, they're still HRHs, right? So I'm upset about it. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, and your light has been signed on us, who in knowledge and epignosi, you know that there are the worst translations of this in English. I don't know where the English I found on the OCA website is. Where do they get the light of your countenance? Those words are just not there, you know? In the Greek it says, ketophosu, Kyrie, has been signed on us, esimiothi, just your light. But they have the light of your countenance, and then they have, instead of in knowledge and epignosi, we sing your praises, they have something else. I forgot already what it was. But anyway, I changed it because I can. Sing your praises. You have come and revealed yourself, O unapproachable light. Now, I know it's annoying when you know this probably by heart in a different English version, but the good parts of having a church language like Slavonic or Greek, that's the text of which is not changing, at least in our, for many centuries already. The good part of having the unchangeable translations, they are changeable, by the way, but they just haven't been changed. The good part is that everybody, if you grew up in the tradition, you can know it by heart. When people get together who grew up in the tradition, you can sing these famous texts, and it's not a problem. You don't wonder, are they going to do, debts and debtors, or trespass and trespassers, whatever, in the Our Father, like, and that's a good feeling, that to know the same melodies, and like, even in popular culture, songs or folk songs, and to sing together, that's a great joy, right? To share that with others. Anyway, so is this beautiful or what? The Lord, we're celebrating that he comes and reveals himself. Epiphany and theophany, meaning, of course, God's revelation of himself, or manifestation, because the three persons manifested in different ways, the voice of the Father, the Son in the flesh, immersing himself into the material world. So today, everybody, we say that the nature of water is being sanctified. And pious Orthodox Christians believe that you could just turn on the faucet on the great feast of Theophany, and the waters are sanctified. So this is why, by the way, one of the reasons anyway, that the Russians will dive into or dunk themselves into cold, freezing rivers on Theophany, because all the water is holy. Днесь вод освящается естество, we sing. Sorry for the Slavonic, but that's what my, tradition is. So it's a great joy. If you're older calendar, go to a church near you, and, tomorrow will be another blessing of the waters. And Russians are really, I don't know if it's like this throughout the Orthodox world, but really take seriously, well, we should take everything seriously, right? But they really love their holy water, especially the theophany water. Krishtianskaya voda has a special status, and we bring, you wash out a clean, you clean a bottle or several bottles. Some people will take like gallons home. Don't hog all the water, by the way. Sometimes it's quite, sort of competitive. Anyway, so enough, right? Enough. A blessed theophany to older calendar people. Let me talk about other things now. What did I promise to talk about second? Oh, right. Politics. So, I wanted to discuss with you, my beloved viewers. Isn't it nice that we're really live today? I really should look what you are writing me. Oh, we have someone from Brazil. Julie Copernic. Huh. Hello, Julie. I knew that Cynthia's here. Cynthia, ever with us. She's such a loyal zillion. I love you, Cynthia. I love all of you people, by the way. Amy S. Amy, it's good to see you as well, my friend. Amy's our zillionet artist. She's our in-house, sort of in virtual house artist, right, Amy? She sketches things and sends me interesting sketches on the basis of some of my podcasts as well, right? The notes that she takes. Mary Louise Lambert, hello to you as well. Have you seen the name of HRH Harry? Wait, have you seen, the meme of Harry serving at McDonald's? No, I mean, the poor bloke is, they're saying all sorts of things. Okay, let's not jump the gun here. We're going to talk about them in a second. Brendan Smith. Have I met you before, Brendan? I don't know. Hello, Brendan. Random question for you, says Brendan. How does one go about discerning a monastic vocation? Well, with a lot of patience, Brendan. And ask someone experienced, who loves you and knows you, to accompany you in your discernment process. Okay? So it's a prayerful process, but you don't want to completely do it alone, right? So ask for help to, talk to people, visit communities, stuff like that. It's like, a monastic vocation is like the marital journey, or even being single. The thing is, it's not an abstraction. It is the question of entering into a specific, space and community. And there's, in marriage, when people ask me, they don't know if they should get married, the first question should be, well, does someone else want to marry you? Or with the monastic thing, is there a community that that you would actually like to spend the rest of your life in? It's concrete, right? So that should be one of the first questions. A wise person once told me that the will of God is what you can do. It seems overly simplified, which it probably is, but you don't have to think very hard if something is simply impossible for you or is just, completely unlikely in your case. You might be tied to other responsibilities. Some people are caring for a lot of their adult lives for a sick parent or sibling. They couldn't possibly abandon that person, or they might have children, and so forth. Or some people, who are unhappily married sometimes think about running away to a monastery too. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's enough about that, right? Who asked me that question? Was it Brendan Smith? Brendan says he's a long-time watcher, but very silent and shy. Oh, all right, Brendan. Well, I've never had that problem about being silent and shy. Yeah, sometimes, sometimes monastic vocations come to the least likely candidates for them. I guess sometimes God is not very discerning. I'm trying to make a little joke here. Is that too irreverent? Our Lord sometimes chooses the least sort of attractive, you know what I'm saying? People to do his work. Julie says, hello, sister. What a blessing to be able to watch today. I said hi to you already, Julie, but I didn't see that comment. Indeed, it's a blessing to see you as well. Teresa is here. Hello, Teresa Canham. Afternoon, sister. I haven't caught you live for a while. Yeah, I don't remember seeing you here, Teresa Canham. So Brendan says, when I was converting from Protestantism, I watched a lot of your videos, so you helped a lot. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Brendan. Marcy, Marcy's the one who gave me this mug, and she's with us, the famous Marcy. Hello to SV and the zillions everywhere. And hello right back at you, Marcy. Simon Schaefer says hello to all. Hello, Simon. Simon is a longtime viewer, right? Or at least a frequent one. All right, I'm going to have to get on with the program now. All right. Marcy, so glad you have finally gotten on board this overcast North Carolina morning. Oh, okay. All right, my friends, what did I tell you I'm going to talk about now? Oh, the politics thing, of course. Okay, that was the clickbait. Is that what it's called? I entitled this little show, Have Our Politics Become Our Religion? Okay, so this is what I'm thinking about it. You could take it or leave it, but, I've observed, because, this is why I'm talking about it. Two people this week, two separate people amongst the zillions, wrote to me asking, how to navigate this, political climate, the divisiveness. One of the ladies that wrote me said, how do I defend my position? She shared with me who she wants to be voting for. So, and then another lady wrote me asking more or less the same thing. Like, can you, whether it's morally or even religiously sort of wrong to vote for this or that side. So we're talking about American politics, and my point isn't for everybody to start, getting upset about this, but my point is that that in a two-party system, you don't really have an ideal choice. And if I oversimplify the arguments, that there are Christians and Orthodox Christians who will be very passionately and, with a lot of conviction for one side. And then there can be equally, faithful people for the other side. You only have, basically, in a two-party system, because the third party usually is not really realistically in the game, you have strong reasons to believe that it would be wrong to vote the other way. And I think that, A, it's not helpful to actually defend your vote because we are allowed to vote, and according to the system, your vote is not public. It's not like everybody has to publicly raise their hand for their vote. You don't need to share that with others because you do not have to know the stuff that you should keep to yourself. Because I don't think that we have the appropriate culture of dialogue anymore, and we don't seem to achieve anything, by arguing these things out and wrestling with our loved ones, wrestling in the sense, when St. Paul actually tells us in Ephesians 6 who it is against whom we're actually supposed to battle or wrestle or contend with. And those are the invisible bad guys. But as for these visible battles, what he tells us in 1 Corinthians in chapter 11:19, that's not the quote right here. I'm trying to point accurately. You can't see my monashiski chin. Someone wrote me my chin. In Russian, it means monastic order, chin, when I put up these quotes. Anyway, St. Paul says that there must be divisions or even heresies amongst you, so that the proven or approved, the proven amongst you, will be made manifest. So, what does that mean? That when we have divisions and we know when to shut up about them, that we can be peacemakers rather than the divisive ones. Because whether you're saying from the Democratic side that, the Trump policies about immigration and the treatment on the border of asylum seekers, and whether or not you're going to say, no, sister, the children in the cages, that's fake news or whatever. Again, my point isn't to argue now about this or that side, but I can understand why a certain side, also because of, the policies of this administration about healthcare and the attitude towards the poor and the rhetoric. Wait a second, I'll get to the other side, okay? I'm just going to say that I can understand both sides considering, and I know that there's the abortion issue. I can understand why someone would choose to vote, and according to their conscience, against, keeping this administration. And it's not right to pretend that this is a contest of good versus evil, is what I'm saying. This is not the battle that we're called to, nor are we to recognize, as if it's our religion, this political battle. Because I think that if we are solidly living the tradition of the church, then we will not be carried away and feel that contest is our primary contest. But in a world that increasingly, not just amongst the young people, but I would say a lot of the young people are, that they are in increasing numbers identifying themselves as nones, N-O-N-E-S. Not in this sense, none, but as N-O-N-E-S, as with no religious affiliation. So, a vacuum is created if you don't have a church tradition or any other one. You're going to seek some kind of system of values. Oh my goodness, it's really snowing outside. That's so lovely. Don't you love it when it snows? Well, I still love it. You're going to get sick of it after a while, right? But we only just recently got the first snow. I'm proud to say, I'm going to brag now, I am still going for my power walk in the morning, also when it's snowing. Are you guys impressed? Anyway, in the absence of a value system that, that's traditional, that's actually rooted in faith in God and in truth, we get now, one sees this, politics as our main religion. Everybody, I don't remember a time when everybody was so into politics, and it's understandable that because of social media and because everybody and their dog has an opinion and comments about things and is, a lot of people are burdened with this misconception that their opinion matters. I'm sorry, do I sound cynical? I don't think that most people's opinions matter. Some people have the vocation, to be decision makers, to be leaders, to be politicians. But Brandon is saying he's going to be in Vienna. But most of us don't have that vocation, right? And so most of us could keep our opinion to ourselves when it really doesn't change things, right? And we are called to vote in a democratic society, but it doesn't mean we're called to wrestle with one another. Look at this. Look what St. Paul tells us if we want to choose our battles wisely, right? Oh, Nate Wattle, Nate Wattle, aka Benedict. Hello, Benedict. It is sad but true that we have to choose based on voting against what we consider the most reprehensible planks of a party platform. Right. So, okay, anyway, I am going to read what St. Paul is saying, but there were a few other thoughts about this, if you're still hanging in there with me, my friends, that, people are cornering their loved ones and saying, well, a Christian would never vote. If you're a Christian, you could never, vote either for the Democratic side or for the Republican side because of this. After either Trump said this or, the way he talks about women or his own profile, his numerous marriages, the stories about the porn stars, this is not a model of, family values for the family values crowd. I'm not telling you who I vote for because I don't think that you would guess it. Who cares, right? We don't want the royals to be politicized. Do you really want your religious people, like the priests and the bishops, to be publicizing their vote? I don't think we need that, right? You need the perspective of church, the people who represent somehow, to some level, the church, not to be entangled in that. So, but I'm pointing out that the issues for people of faith, connected to both sides, of course, there's that huge abortion issue. But I just want to say, let's not approach the other side as not having a case, because that was one of the questions that was posed to me. How can you defend that you, as a Christian, really do not want to vote for the Republican ticket? So it's not that, I don't understand the pressing, the compelling issue of abortion, but I also don't think I have the right to treat those who want to vote differently or to be shocked and dismayed, at those who don't find it possible, nonetheless, to vote the Republican ticket, and vice versa, right? There's also the disturbing issue, of symbols matter, and the symbol that is the first family matters, just like it matters, and it saddens me, the symbol for the Brits of the royal family and of somebody as symbolically significant as Harry leaving. We don't know how it's going to end up. That's why the flowers here, the spring flowers, are my sign of hope for this to be resolved in a way that's good for everybody, and for the country and for just for everybody, for the couple, for their child. Anyway, sister, could you stick to one topic? I'm trying. So there are these disturbing things symbolically, but also in a real way, in the kind of models or lack thereof in the first family. And one of the things that I personally find to be a minus mark if I make a list of the pluses and minuses of, the Republican ticket would be, one second, what are you guys saying? Oh, hey, Phil. And hello, Phil Harwell is with us. Good morning. Pam Robinson says that she says, one of my biggest lessons is recognizing that no one really wants to hear my opinion unless asked, of course, right? Right. It's, it's liberating too, right? Kurgias panos. That would be so divisive, right? So, I'm trying to just, put my mind to rest as to why, some people would vote one way and the others, nonetheless, another way. Because it seems to me pretty clear. I grew up in a world where people would, in my little, Russian Orthodox ghetto, generally in my ghetto, everybody voted Republican. That was the way I was brought up. But anyway, in this, as I am, discussing this, when Ivanka became Jewish, having been a Christian, symbolically also, I mean, God will judge all of us, but for me, someone who turns away from faith in Christ, and denies him to be one of the most prominent figures, in today's sort of political scene, and symbolizing a model for others, is not something that, I am thrilled about. Again, God will be the judge of all of us, but I find that very sad. As a Christian, I find it sad. Is that an anti-Semitic thing to say? No, it's not. I'm not even talking about a woman who is Jewish. I'm saying that her faith, she changed, So that's that. But as for the Democratic side, I find the political left to be increasingly stifling with the political correctness that even, such a liberal like Ricky Gervais, you saw his performance at what was it? The Oscars or the Emmys or one of those Golden Globes. The political correctness and the stifling environment where, people just don't say what they think anymore. So Ricky was making fun of that, and I thought it was very funny. The ridiculousness surrounding Greta Thunberg, this child that suddenly is, admonishing adults. And anyway, all of this stuff to me was annoying. And it's not because I wouldn't agree on some of these issues with the left, but the intolerance, the atmosphere of intolerance for even just for comedy, for saying a joke, and that just, that in me, that just raises a big yawn. So as far as those battles go, however, seeing some of the negative sides of both sides, one goes through the discernment process, and I think it's not helpful anymore. At least that's what I have found. Everybody does what they want. I'm not telling you what to do, but I would, my little, bit of, how do I say this? My unsolicited tip in this climate is, I don't think that we should be battling this out. It's just, it doesn't help anybody. And I don't think you really convince anybody with arguments. And, anyway, choose your battles. Some of you might have the vocation to be politicians. I don't know. For we are not contending, St. Paul reminds us, against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, what do? Take the whole armor of God. This is why it's very helpful, my friends, to stay close to Scripture, stay close to the tradition. That when it's the idea behind our daily morning coffee podcasts on patreon.com, I always tell you to subscribe. We do get new subscribers, a little trickle of them every week. But do subscribe, my friends, because what we do on this brief audio podcast, which you can listen to every single morning when you're, well, not every single, but on weekdays when you're driving to work, right? Or you upload it, you listen to it in your car, or if you don't have a car, you listen to it on your horse and buggy, or if you take a helicopter to work like me. No, I'm just saying crazy stuff today. You could also listen on the treadmill. Anyway, we go through briefly of through like one or two lives of saints of the day. So you have this nourishing information, a bit of scripture, reflecting on the meaning of the day in the light of faith. So on the basis of that, you really have your hands full, if you want actually to nourish yourself and to grow and to have life-giving or bringing information in your life rather than just listening to the news and what's the last divisive thing that happened with this or that, except, of course, if you're concentrating on celebrity gossip like Megxit, that's okay. All right. Does that make any sense? No, sister. C.R. Harris is saying yes. I wonder. Okay. Oh, Brendan is saying about praying for leaders before criticizing them. That's really helpful, Brendan. That's really helpful. It actually really helped me when I really started praying for it was back in the Obama days. I always prayed every morning for Obama. I prayed for Michelle. I prayed for the two girls. I don't anymore because now I always pray every day for Donald and Melania. I also pray for Vladimir because I'm Russian. And it has nothing to do really with my politics, but it helps me. I pray for my local bishop, for the bishop that's my canonical boss, who happens to be Metropolitan Hilarion of the Rokor. I pray for the bishop who tonsured me, and to the Yasafor, who is Archbishop Mark. Anyway, you pray for these, they're figures, right? They're also symbolic in a sense, not that don't have real authority. And it makes you saner, I find. It makes you saner because then you have skin in the game, so to say, because you're self-offering in that you're taking time to pray for them. I try, I don't actually go through the whole list of our bishops' names. Most of our synod of bishops I pray for, not of the Moscow Patriarchate, of the Rokor. Anyway, it really does give you a different feel for these people, and we're obliged to. In 1 Timothy, St. Paul says that we have to pray for the powers that be, those who are in authority. So it's just what we're supposed to be doing. But wait, I was getting to some interesting point about, you can choose the narrative of your day. You could choose what you care about. You don't have to care about everything, right? But in any event, let's not pretend from either side that this is a fight of good versus evil. This is not our religion. Politics are not our religion. And, the whole Greta Thunberg thing and the climate hysteria, which I recognize, I'm not going to say that I don't think, that the climate issues aren't important or that we shouldn't be responsible. I have to take care of what I can do personally to accept responsibility, do what I can, not to be wasteful, also not to be, irresponsible in the way I produce trash or, too much of it, whatever. But to turn it into this, religion and, the young people finding this to be their new, whatever thing to fight for, I don't think that makes no sense when something that scientifically has to be worked on, a very complex issue that needs the young people to be educating themselves, to contribute actually, not by skipping school and, stopping traffic and all of this nonsense that was going on. I find that annoying. It's counterproductive. It's not helping anything. It's not being responsible. But it has a religious, you know, sort of smell to it, and almost pagan kind of rhetoric about Mother Earth and all of this stuff, you know. Anyway, what does St. Paul write further here? Therefore, he's talking about nourishing ourselves, protecting ourselves so we can actually be useful. Take the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. And you see that I wanted to set apart the many times here that he repeats stand. So you can withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand, therefore, having girded your loins with what? Truth. And having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the equipment of the gospel of peace. Thus we can be useful, everybody, peacemakers, starting every day with a bit of life-bringing facts, life-bringing words, right? This sounds like a shameless pitch, right, for my daily audio podcast. And it is. Sign up, all right? Sign up, and you will not regret it. And you could always unsubscribe, so it's not like joining a gym. So think about it, all right? Think about it. I'm really going to be happy, and the rest of our zillions of listeners will also be happy to welcome you there. So, do you want to talk about the sneakers and skirts? What are you guys saying? Oh, yeah. I didn't get to the point, though, about the standing part. You know, when St. Paul says stand. I wanted to share with you that I think I will get to the skirts and sneakers. Sorry, everybody. Bear with me. Just 1 second. Oh, my goodness, I have to end this. You know the way orthodoxia is explained usually as being right opinion or right praise? Well, I like to think of it also as upright praise or worship. Upright. You know the way in Orthodox churches, unless they've been infected with the tradition of pews, my beloved mentor, Father Taft, used to say that pews are a creation of the devil. It doesn't mean I'm disparaging a church parish with pews, right? But it's just funny. It's a liturgist kind of joke. Anyway, we do tend to stand. So it's interesting to me about standing, that standing, because it's a symbol of the resurrection, I think is an important part also of the culture of worship in Byzantine Rite tradition. So standing also, I think, is withstanding in our divisive culture in this election year. I feel like I'm challenged to withstand, stand up to the temptation to dive into these arguments and these battles that I really can't affect. Ultimately, even, these horrible wars going on in our world, that unless also you're called to military service, and I understand there are military families and people who have a different position, I mean, they have to be involved, but these are battles that people in certain very powerful places are engaged in. And I think I am called to pray, to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. But if we start our own wars, in a different way, and find it to be a motivation to be nasty and disparaging to others who disagree with us online and so forth, I find that not to be helpful at all, right? Anyway, this is what I say to myself if I'm tempted to dive into those, I don't stick my head into the sand completely, right? I I am aware of, well, reasonably, I think. I don't go overboard with it. But anyway, I think I don't need to get over involved. Okay, enough of that, enough of it. We do want to talk about the pressing fashion issue. I know this is also a divisive issue, but here, this is what we're talking about today, my friends. I need to warn you about this. I actually took notes about it. 1 second. Let me put up this disturbing picture. I know, ladies, you're going to tell me about how liberating it is to be able to go around looking like this. 1 second. So this is what is known, my friends. These are actually nice sneakers that you see in this picture, but you know that the trend is also already for a while, more than 1 year. I think it started, 2-3 years ago? The ugly sneakers fashion. Look at this. This, first of all, makes me want to say, choose a look. Choose an outfit. Are you wearing a dress or are you going to the gym? Sneakers or trainers, they are made for the purpose of the gym. I do realize that they're comfortable. But insofar as clothing is meant to be flattering and not especially consciously ugly, and it's not supposed to be just comfortable, clothing has always been connected to beauty, because you're covering up the idea of it already in the garden in Genesis 3 is to cover up that which, for better or for worse, you want covered. So you also, when you say, I dress for myself and not for others, well, is that true? When you go to church, for example, if you say, let's take it to the extreme, if you totally didn't, this is a family show, sister, so I'm going to say it politely. If you didn't care at all, I was going to say something, forget it. If you didn't care at all how you presented yourself clothing-wise, and say, you just wore, rags, if you wanted to always to make the statement that I don't care, which seems to be fashionable amongst very young people, like, oh, he so doesn't care means somebody's like very cool, I think that to tell the world that you don't care in that way is arrogant and not respectful of other people. And dressing up for church, for example, and looking nice, I think you could disagree with me, right? I'm telling you my view of this. It's like when you're not trying to the best, of your possibilities to be neat, to be, and yes, to look nice. I find that you're disrespecting others or the sacred space also in church. Doesn't mean you have to be there are different ways of looking nice, but I'm making this overly serious because I thought it was sort of, I meant it to be a fun topic. And it is a fun topic, and I think people are going to disagree with me, so I think that's a little bit fun too. I want us to disagree about stuff like this because it's not really, very important. But it is called ugly fashion, actually. And I think we open our hearts to questionable trends sometimes and fall victim to something like this, like the ugly sneaker and skirt combination. So, one of the reasons I'm speaking out against this, because I think it's mixing things that don't go together. Number 2, I think that it looks awkward. It doesn't look, I don't think that it looks nice. And there are, however, exceptions to what I'm saying. I think there are appropriate times to wear something like this, like on your way to work. You know, here are the exceptions to what I'm saying. Because I realize that this is practical, but I don't think practical is the only consideration for how we dress. I think it's obvious that what I'm wearing is very not practical for lots of forms of work. Can you imagine wearing this when you're working in the garden? Or even, it's not that comfortable for eating either. So I have not been able, by the way, to dig up the history of this particular, design. It doesn't seem conducive to hard work. But anyway, the ugly fashion that we're talking about today is explained, the sneakers with skirt combination, that it's a reaction to decades of over-sexualized women's clothing. So one is making a statement of non-conformity. So, yay, I can look unattractive and clumsy wearing something like this, and I'm liberated. But are you really when you're following a trend? Because following a trend, even if you don't like the way it looks, is sort of conformity. And if I'm actually going to be very unpopular for speaking out against this, then I'm being the nonconformist, right? So the exceptions to my opposition to this that I want to say, one second. What are you guys writing? Lynn is saying, okay, Teresa says she doesn't own sneakers. Okay, so that's the end of that for Teresa. Susan is saying, my epiphany for 2020, my epiphany, my unsolicited sinner that I am advice. Criticism, the equivalent of hate speech in anyone intolerant of differences of opinion. Silence is gold. Oh, okay. So thank you, Susan. You're sharing with us the whole, you're not talking right now on the topic of, well, that was a while ago that Susan wrote that comment. Thank you. She says prayer is priceless. Thank you for that. Right now I'm trying to stick to the sneakers topic. Is anybody still with me? I know I have to wrap this up. I will. One second. Lynn says, I choose sneakers and sandals over dresses. I choose sneakers and sandals over dresses. I don't know what that means, Lynn. What do you mean by that? You choose sneakers and sandals over dresses. Amy says, then there is the whole issue of sandals. Oh, I get it, you guys. But, there are different types of sandals, right? There are more elegant ones, and there are the less elegant ones. But the ugly style, we know all about it ever since, what are they called? Crocs and Birkenstocks, right? So anyway, that stuff, I get it that there are appropriate times when, obviously you're not going to go for your power walk or your jog in nice shoes. And I'm not saying you have to walk around in heels if they're uncomfortable for you. I mean, heels look nice, I think. Well, on women. Guys, I don't think it's a good idea always. Well, now I'm not going to get into that can of worms about cross-dressing. Not on this show. But, I'm saying that I don't think it's appropriate with certain styles. Now, the exceptions, 3 exceptions to what my tip is, my unsolicited fashion tip is, don't do this. Don't wear this. Please don't. Or stop it. It doesn't look nice. You think it looks nice. I don't think it looks nice. I looked up a lot of social media comments, like what do men think of women wearing this? And, okay, you're going to say it's sexist and women shouldn't dress for men. Fine. Okay, fine. But those of you who are single ladies out there, maybe unhappily single, don't come crying to me if your sneakers and skirt thing, I don't know, somehow is being like a guy repellent. That's what I found on social media because I did my research. That men don't like this. Here are the exceptions to the new rule. Not only Bill Maher has new rules, everybody, we have them now. New rule: don't wear sneakers with skirts and nice dresses. But there are, okay, number one, there are sporty types of dresses, right? The sporty type of dress, my friends, obviously is not what we're talking about. Where's my picture of the sporty dress? Oh no, I didn't provide that picture. I don't have it in my list of pictures. Sorry about that. Anyway, obviously there could be, like those little tennis dresses, or there are like those mini skirts. There's things that obviously look nice with, well, not with the ugly big dad sneakers, but with, certain nice sneakers like these. Obviously, I'm not talking about that, but these prairie dresses with sneakers and generally very fancy dresses with sneakers looks ridiculous. So here are the exceptions to the rule, to the new rule. If you are a tourist, I know this picture is not perfect, but I found this picture of this chic sort of tourist lady with the camera. So you're at the airport, right? It's much more comfortable to wear sneakers than anything else when you're traveling, or you're walking around a city like Rome or Jerusalem even, and you just, at a certain age, it's really, your feet do hurt and if you're out of shape, sneakers are like the best way to go. So with whatever you're wearing, to wear sneakers when you're traveling, also to work, I think that that's appropriate, right? There's a reason for it. The second exception, when it's, I think, understandable and appropriate to wear sneakers with whatever else you happen to be wearing, is when you are a homeless person. You are a homeless person and a charitable organization. You see this young woman right here? A charitable organization, I'm gathering, has given her various random things that she liked, and she threw them all together because the poor soul, she didn't have, she couldn't put together an outfit according to her choice, but she took what she was kindly given. So God bless her, right? So this look, you could even see the black socks. You see the black socks with the skirt? I mean, if you actually have the choice to dress in that which, you can afford clothing, if you're blessed with enough money to buy your own clothing, then I would suggest not to do this. Okay, now, so first exception is when you're traveling. Exception number 2, when you're homeless. It's okay to wear the sneakers with the skirt. Everybody understands. The third reason to wear this, one second, what are you guys writing? Amy says she saw a wedding dress worn with sneakers on a very beautiful model, and the combo looked great. Exactly. On a very beautiful model, my friends, a potato sack will look beautiful, right? With clogs or whatever. The problem with some of these trends, when they're modeled by somebody so beautiful that whatever she's wearing is beautiful, sometimes people who maybe need a little help from the clothing to adorn themselves and to mitigate the not very attractive aspects of their figure. Am I saying something that's like completely way out there? Maybe. Anyway, the third exception to this rule, everybody. First one was, are we remembering this? When you're traveling. Number 2, when you're homeless. Number 3, when you are Wendy Williams. She's allowed to do this. Why? That's her thing. Wendy Williams, if you don't know who she is, don't worry about it. Wendy Williams, I want to say something about Wendy Williams, if you do know who she is. Her demographic, she's very popular with two demographics. And this is going to be part of the point I am making. Her demographic is, number one, women between the ages of 25 and 49 who are hungry for a bit of celebrity gossip. First demographic. And number two, she is most popular with, as far as men go, homosexual men. These two demographics are her viewership. She's a talk show host. Sometimes it's fun to watch her, actually. No, it's not like a viewer, whatever. I'm not giving a tip or suggesting that you watch Wendy Williams. But the point I'm making is that she always wears these sneakers with all of these fancy dresses. And it appeals, as far as men go, to homosexual men. Okay? So, I don't know. It's not a bad thing, right? I'm not trying to insult any of you homos out there watching my show. You know that I am very happy when you do. So, but I want to just say, insofar as women's dress goes, I think this looks, as far as my aesthetic, understanding goes, I don't think that this looks nice, right? But I'm not saying anything against Wendy Williams. I don't like when we say nasty things about celebrities, just because it doesn't feel good, even when you're a celebrity, I think, to have people say bad things about, nasty things. But it's about the sneakers. Brendan says that Wendy Williams is not a fashion guru. She's not? I don't know. I think some people think she is, right? And, Ami's with us. Now, the gal with the blonde hair and fur is typical of San Francisco, but then here, anything goes. Ami, I think it's a typical look. I'm aware that it's a typical look everywhere. In fact, I had we have an ongoing disagreement with my beloved Anna. You guys know Anna. She's been on the show. Because she does this, and I'm like, Anna. And she's like, what? She's like, all the cool people are wearing this. So, anyway, and she's like, we have a serious disagreement about this. It's ongoing. I haven't been able to break her about the sneakers. It's like, is it any of my business what Anna wants to wear? No, but I stuck my nose in it anyway. Tina Fisk, I haven't seen your comments yet. And Ethiopia W. Hello, Ethiopia W. Oh my, this has gone on for over an hour. I love you people. I'm sorry I didn't comment on all your comments, and I didn't get back to the Megxit issue. Let's stay hopeful. It's not the end of the world. I hope those millennials, the prince, whom we all so much love, Prince Harry, and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, his lovely wife. I hope that Her Majesty the Queen can resolve this to their, also to their, to their also spiritual benefit, because I don't want to see them just, what are they going around on American talk shows? Because what's interesting about the royal family to me is that 4-letter word, duty, is that they are this cross-carrying family. Yes, with all the palaces and servants and everything, but it's interesting to me that somebody self-offers like that and is exposed all their lives. Everybody, except for, people who say disparaging things about the Queen, I don't find that interesting. I mean, do what you want, if you're not a big, royalist or whatever. But I find it interesting that people who have sacrifice and who have tradition, they are interesting to me. It's not interesting to me if you're all about, it's not self-realization, self-actualization is not a four-letter word. It's not interesting. Doesn't stop you in your tracks. But duty, it does. It's interesting, Anyway, we gotta go. I know. I'm sorry. This was really long. All right. Really love you people. Everybody's leaving, right? You're saying you miss Anna. I'll bring her back. Okay. I love you people. I'm saying goodbye finally. Do subscribe. I'll talk next time about the prize that we will be giving out. I have to work more on it. Okay. Bye, everybody. A blessed theophany, older calendar folks. And have a blessed week. And I'll see some of you or hear some of you. You will hear me in any event on this audio podcast, Morning Coffee. Do it now. Subscribe. Don't hesitate. And again, I love you. Bye, everybody. I don't think it's ending yet. Okay, bye. Now I'm really going. Bye-bye.